Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're going to continue our quarterback rankings, going to wrap them up. We did 1 through 15 on Tuesday's episode, so if you haven't listened to that, go back and check that one out. Today we're going to do 16 through, 32. Maybe we'll talk about a couple other guys that might be 33, 34, 35, because who knows what's going to shake out with some of these quarterback battles. But before we get into that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. Go subscribe to us and like us and follow us all those different places. And let's just jump right into the episode, Jeff. Let's go number 16. So we ended last episode with Jimmy Garoppolo coming in at 15. So number 16 for us is Dak Prescott. Is our 16, my 15th, your 18th. And we're both kind of, I like Dak. Dak's fallen down for me. This is a guy who's actually gone down the board slightly. And part of it, I guess, could just be the fact that, is he really just throwing the ball to Allen Hurns? I mean, Terrence Williams, Allen Hurns, where's he throwing the ball? Zeke's great running back, but he's never been quite known as a pass catching back. I guess they have Tavon Austin. Maybe they'll try to do some stuff with him, which actually makes me give me a little bit more. Tavon Austin has a little more value because they have to throw the ball somewhere. Who's their tight end? Like, is who's going to actually end up winning the job? So is that why he's fallen down all the way to 18 for you? Because this is a guy who, in his first 2 seasons in the NFL, has finished 6th and 9th quarterback ranks, but we have him 15th and 18th, 16th overall.
Yeah, it's a hard one in my head too because I kind of wanted to put him up a little higher. I'm not really impressed with what he has to work with, and that is the main part. I think he is a fine quarterback that can run a little bit. He does really special stuff when he has a really good team. We saw that Ezekiel Elliott, the run game, definitely helped him last year. He was much more productive while Zeke was in there and not suspended. But it's very difficult to have an off year already, and then you lose Jason Witten and you lose Dez Bryant.
Yep.
Yes, I know that maybe he wasn't the biggest fan of Dez Bryant, but he is by far the most talented wide receiver he's ever played with. And I don't know. I might be a little too low on him. I definitely could be sold to go higher. But the truth is, a lot of these quarterbacks are extremely close. Yep. And everyone above him, I truly believe would end if every one of them stayed healthy. And that's the tough part. I don't really have any reason to like Dak Prescott more than anyone else.
He just has less weapons. He does. He has a good running attack, but that's it. And that means I think they're gonna lean on Zeke even more. So that's why Dak's fallen down for me. But again, this is now QB2 range, so he's good value. And again, that's why we wait on quarterbacks, because he's not bad. Like, he could surprise us. I've never been a huge Dak fan. I don't know. Remember from a couple of years ago. He kind of stole the spot from Tony Romo, who I was definitely a fan of. Romo still could be better than him today. So I'll just throw that out there. So that's why Dak falls down for me. That's
a hard one because people are going to be upset by this one a little bit. I do get it. But I mean, tell me what weapons he really has and why he should be ranked higher than,
he shouldn't.
A Garoppolo or Matt Ryan or whoever.
Our 16th ranking is actually high. He's 19th in the expert ranks. And He's going 17th in ADP.
I'm actually really surprised by that. I thought I was going to be like the lowest person on him.
No, it's pretty much people are agreeing with it. So that's why he's falling down. So I'll go to the 17th guy. This is one that we had probably the biggest difference on. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's 14 for you, 20 for me. It's just the rookie who I haven't seen much, but he's 15th in the expert ranks, going 15th in ADP. So you're closer to where you ranked him. I'm just lower on him just because there's me being conservative, looking like in the veteran again, and never seeing Mahomes. But yes, he has a lot of people to throw the ball to. Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt. It's pretty solid group of wide receivers and running back there. So I can see why. I just haven't seen him do anything yet.
And I think you perfectly said it. And that's what it comes down to. I think the same reason I put Deshaun Watson. I've tried to find value in people. And Mahomes does have a ton of weapons, and he's young. And from everything I've heard, it sounds really good. But if you wanted to be safer, obviously that's where you go with, like you said, I always go back to Matt Ryan, but he would be someone like that, or you can go farther down the list and find someone that's been around 10 years and know exactly what you're going to get.
And I think they must know what they have in him. They wouldn't have shipped off Alex Smith like that when they knew they had a solid quarterback. They knew Mahomes is good.
Also, and really is the kind of weapons he has as well. The fact that he has a solid run game and Travis Kelce really help me put him up here. If he just had, one amazing wide receiver, I'd feel, a little crazy about it. But the fact that they have guys that can be used in multiple ways, and you're talking about if you just give Tyreek the ball in space, he can make stuff happen. There's a lot of ways for Mahomes to be successful. I think he's going to be a little more of a gunslinger than Alex Smith. Maybe he'll make more mistakes, but I think his upside is pretty high, and that's why he ranked number 14 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I see it. There's all the weapons there. Makes sense. I guess just the rookie, I usually end up placing him a little lower, just the way, for some reason, I do that.
Yeah, and you might be absolutely correct.
Who knows? We'll go number 18. It's Eli Manning, my 17th ranked player, your 20th.
Okay. I was going to say, how high did you have him?
17th, just 17th. And I believe, I'm going to take a guess and say we're high on Eli. Yes, he's going 23rd in experts. He is going off the board at ADP, 28th. 28th off the board in ADP ranks. That, to me, is, you don't have to put him 17th like I did. You don't have to put him wherever, but 28th quarterback off the board, to me, is a little crazy, especially when he's going to be throwing the ball to Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram.
He really does have some of the, and you have Saquon as well now coming out of the backfield, who is obviously, at least in college, could catch the ball very well. He does have some of the better weapons, and I think the big thing is he just, besides for early in his career, well, no, not even early. I mean, he has had 2 top 10 finishes in the past 4 years. That's about as good as it gets. I mean, besides for that, it was 15th, 22nd, 21. Even last year, or I'm sorry, the one that really, and then last year was 23, but the one that really gets me is 2016 when he had a healthy Odell Beckham and he was still ranked 21st overall in quarterback. And that's the one that gets me. But I mean, I did put him at number 20.
Yeah,
he has so many weapons. I totally understand where like you're coming from, where you're a little higher on him.
I just think he shouldn't be going 28th.
I mean that's really, really low.
He has more value than that, especially when everyone's ranking his other players up there.
Right.
He has to. One of those things can't either. I guess you could say the one that's going to bust. If somebody has to bust, if Eli's not going to be up there, and that's probably Ingram. That's about the only, because I don't think it's going to be Odell, and I don't think it's going to be Saquon. But
right, and I think they still have to throw it quite a bit. I don't know. The last 2 years have worried me, but I mean, really, there was a stretch where he would be in the low teens. I don't know. He's just, besides for like 2 years, he's never really been worthwhile. So I think people would much rather go upside at this point. I think that's what it comes down to.
All right, how about number 19, another guy that we're actually high on, Case Keenum. Yeah. He's your 19th, my 22nd. Ranks, he's 25th. ADP, he's 27th. Way down there. And this is a guy who's actually moved up for me. And it's more of, okay, he's throwing the ball to Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, 2 solid wide receivers. I mean, Demaryius isn't as good as he once was. But he's still solid. I think he has that chance with a good quarterback. And Case Keenum was pretty good last year with Minnesota. He ended up the 14th ranked quarterback playing, but he probably played about 14 games. I think 14 games, yeah.
I think he was like, he would have been a top 10 quarterback for the second half of the year.
Yeah, he was very solid, and he has some good players to throw the ball to again. I don't see why he doesn't at least continue those kind of numbers. And so for him to be going off the board 27th and ranked 25th, he's better than that.
Yeah, I think once again, I think because people don't see a whole lot of upside to it. I think this is a guy you can get for your backup, or anything, and you will be very happy with what happens. Like, maybe he's not going to be a top 5 guy. That's not in the cards no matter what happens. But he could surprise us and be, 10th, 11th, put up very similar numbers to a lot of these guys you're going to be getting rounds ahead of him.
Yep. All right, number 20. Let's give me Alex Smith, who's actually both of our 21st ranked quarterback. Just ends up falling at, actually, there's a 3-way tie. We'll say this. There's a 3-way tie for 20th. It's Alex Smith, who's 21st for both of us. Derek Carr, 19th for me, 23rd for you. And then Marcus Mariota, another one who we are big difference on. I'm 18th. You're 24th on Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I'm pretty low on him.
So you're definitely not a fan of Mariota. So we can group all three of these guys.
Sure.
Veteran. I mean, Alex Smith is a veteran. The Carr and Mariota are the younger guys who, out of these three, I do feel like Derek Carr, there's still some room for him to break out. Last year was maybe just a downfall. Maybe he bounces back from that. Amari Cooper has a bounce back. Jordy Nelson steps up. Martavis Bryant becomes a player. There's actually a pretty good chance that all of a sudden Derek Carr moves up. The more I look at Derek Carr, I feel like maybe I'm underrating him a little bit. We both have him below Eli. Maybe we should have him ahead of Eli.
Yeah.
At least that kind of player.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if I was going to give a little more credit to someone, it would definitely be Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I do see where people are going with that one. I think he kind of burnt me last year, and that's not why I ranked him down here, but I don't know.
So did Mariota.
I don't know.
It's the same story, isn't it?
Yeah. I just don't think Mariota is a very good passing quarterback in the NFL quite yet. I like the fact that you're adding Corey Davis. But they're going to have Deion Lewis and Derrick Henry. I don't know why they would have to throw too much more. And from what I saw last year, I just don't necessarily think he's ready to take that next step. I don't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And once again, I think he's much more like NFL than fantasy relevant. But Derek Carr, I mean, he went, 20th, 15th, 9th, and then last year he laid an egg with 21st. And is Jordy a big upgrade over Crabtree? Is Cooper going to come back? That run game?
We don't know.
What, you add Doug Martin and it's going to fix everything? I don't know.
But I would not be surprised if he jumped to be a top 10 quarterback. He has that potential, I feel like. There's enough quarterbacks around higher up that take a chance on, but Carr's going to be there. He's just one you watch and pick him up, and he could be that breakout guy. Then I'll say Alex Smith, who's the 20th ranked, is just boring.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not in love with his weapons right now. I mean, throwing the ball to Josh Doxson, Paul Richardson, Jamison Crowder, Jordan Reed. They're fine. They're all fine.
Yeah.
Jordan Reed
would be great if he stayed healthy.
Could change everything. It's just I can't trust Jordan Reed right now. Those other three guys are all fine.
Yeah, and to anyone that, has only been playing for the last couple of years and you remember Alex Smith as the number 3 overall quarterback last year, going backwards, number 3, the year before that, 22, 16, 19, 13, 29, 15.
Yep.
He has never been relevant in fantasy before last year. So I'm not going to all of a sudden think he is going to when he changes teams into a worse situation than he was last year.
And I'll look at the Fantasy Pros ranks on these guys. Rankings-wise, Mariota's 17th, Smith is 18th, Carr's 21st. ADP-wise, Carr goes 18th, Mariota goes 19th, Smith goes 20th. So there, it's just...
Not worry about running ADP then.
And Carr, it's kind of, it's a mix on what to think with those guys. All right, let's go 23. This is actually the player we have the biggest difference on in the ranks. Number 23. By far the biggest difference out of any player.
Is it... Well, I could guess. Is it Tyrod?
It's Tyrod.
Yeah, I thought.
It's not like I dislike Tyrod. It's just I'm not sure. I'm just not sure of what the Browns are going to do.
Okay, and I 100%. And this is kind of, I wanted to pick your brain about this because when you're ranking or any rankings you see, you have to at some point determine how you're actually going to determine value, right? So for Tyrod, how much is he hurt by the fact that that at some point in the year, Baker Mayfield may take over? Say even if he is the one guy, say even if he's playing well and he gets hurt for half a game and Baker Mayfield comes out, wows the crowd, they love it, they win, does he lose his job right there? That's the question, because if not, he has a ton of weapons and he has not been a bad NFL quarterback. And hence why I have him probably so much higher than everyone else, my guess is. But what distinguishes that between your thinking?
The reason I just hesitate is I don't know how good the Browns are going to be. So if the Browns come out and they're competitive early on and win a couple games and they're actually, an improved team, Tyrod's going to stay at the quarterback. If they go 0-5, I feel like all of a sudden they have no reason not to throw Baker in there. That's pretty much it. If they're a decent team who's winning some games or being at least competitive, you don't need to throw the rookie into it. Tyrod's winning games, playing fine. It's just there's that could be a short leach.
I get it, but I don't think that the Browns were necessarily as bad as obviously their record, but I think if Tyrod was in there because he's a much better quarterback, he doesn't turn the ball over near as much, he can make things happen with his feet, he's even a better passer than obviously whoever they had last year, Kaiser, or name one of the 3 quarterbacks that played. on a Buffalo team who name a wide receiver he had. I know we did this before, but even Sammy Watkins, he had him for 1 year. He had him for like 14 games, and another year he had him for half the season. And he still managed to get, when he was starting the last 3 years, managed to rank 14th, 8th, and 16th when he had no one to throw it to besides for McCoy out of the backfield. But I mean, he would hand the ball off, obviously, a ton. I mean, he just has so many weapons now. And I think Baker Mayfield, it does scare me. And I probably would have him up even higher if it wasn't for the fact that, I mean, it is a real possibility that he loses his spot because they invested so much into Baker Mayfield.
Yep. And I guess that's the only reason he'd be higher for me if I just didn't have that lingering.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So how, and because this is going to be to at least 3 quarterbacks, I guess you could include Flacco in this. But when we're talking about Bradford and we're talking about McCown and we're talking about, obviously, Tyrod, how much does the backup looming affect them?
It affected all of them.
Yeah, I would agree. Me too.
It actually did quite a bit. And yeah, I'll talk about a couple more of those guys coming up. But honestly, it affected all of them for me. And it's just there. But then again, that's the difference. If you actually are getting these guys, it means you're going to probably, I mean, Tyrod is, you could, if you want to be they're all backups. Unless you're in a 2 QB league, then you might throw Tyrod. But then in a 2 QB league, I kind of would even worry a little bit more because there's not as many to go around sometimes.
I 100% agree.
Unless you have to get Tyrod and you have to get Baker, or you have to get whoever and whoever. You have to get, I think, both of them. Otherwise, you don't feel safe.
Yeah, and for this exact situation, I actually do have Tyrod ranked higher than Case Keenum.
Yep.
And I had a shot at both of them, and I decided to go with Case Keenum in one of my leagues because I can start 2. So I have to have that security that he's going to play all year. And
if it's just if it's like a 12-team league and this is your backup, it's a totally different situation.
Way different.
There's so many other options. If Tyrod loses the job, who cares?
Yeah.
You just get a different guy.
I mean, okay, here's a question for you, and this is a kind of an unfair question. But if the season was only, say, 10 games long, where you think that there's no way that Baker Mayfield is going to make a start,
yep,
where do you think Tyrod would be slotted in here?
I probably would like him more than, for me, he's probably like 17, 18. He's probably right in there. Right between Eli and Marcus Mariota level.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, because I think he's going to be solid. It's just if they struggle, he could lose it.
I'm saying if he didn't lose it, but he would be even higher for me. Like, he could get up to, 15. Damn, he could get up to like even 13 pretty easily for me. Because I just think they have so many weapons. And he runs a little bit. Even in Buffalo, he put up enough numbers. I'm not, maybe he won't wow us, but I think he'll be more productive than many of these other guys.
On Fantasy Pros, he actually has, somebody ranked him 8th. But other than that one outlier, he's
okay. That's even hardcore for me.
He's between, other than the outlier, he's between 15th and 36th.
Okay.
So it's just
and that's the thing too is those are the 2 extremes of
he's
going to start all year. He's not going to he's going to lose it by week 5.
Yep. And in rankings wise, he's 27th, but ADP he's going 23rd. He's going ahead of Case Keenum. He's going ahead of all the other guys.
They're taking the upside bet.
Yep. All right, let's see. After Tyrod, number 24, it's going to be Blake Bortles. He's my 25th year, 22nd. It's Blake Bortles. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
he ends up there. He's
one of these that is far better for fantasy because I don't necessarily think he's a great quarterback. No. But he's always ranked higher than I thought he has.
He always ends up there. And I just, right now, though, he just has a million random guys to throw the ball to. I mean, I do like D.D. Westbrook. Marcus Lee's fine.
I was going to say, we like a lot of these guys.
I like a lot of those guys, not as ones maybe, but maybe they all end up stepping up, and this is an amazing receiving core.
But I mean, so how bad do you actually think Bortles has been in fantasy? And this is, believe me, this is me ranking him as low as,
he ends up, I feel like he always ends up around top 10.
Yeah. So the last 3 years, he was 4th, 10th, and 13th. I know he's trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And you have Fournette, which is a great run game, and you have a good defense, so he doesn't have to throw near as much. But everyone is going to rank him in the 20s. And he hasn't finished below 13. I mean, I guess in the last 3 years, but 13th is like, it wouldn't be that crazy.
All of us, I think, do this, and you rank him low based on the fact that we just don't think he's a good quarterback in necessarily NFL reasons.
Yes.
But he ends up, fantasy-wise, okay. He ends up usually okay. And yeah, that's just it. Remember 2 years ago, people drafted him in the top 10.
Well, when their defense wasn't good, I mean, he was throwing so much.
Well, the funny thing, I laugh at that. How he drafted him top 10. He finished 10th. So it was fine.
That's true. That's true.
After that, you're, oh, God. It's
remember, I mean, that year he was 4th, though. Remember, Allen Robinson had some ridiculous amount of touchdown catches.
I can't. I'm Blake Bortles.
I get it. I ranked him down there, too. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take my chance on him. I'd rather take it on someone else. But I'm just always shocked when I look at that. I'm like, how in the world did he end in the top 10 2 out of the 3 years?
He's 22nd ranked. He's 22nd ADP. So we're a little lower, but it's just, it's Blake Bortles. Number 26 or 25, Jameis Winston. My 23rd, your 25th. It's obviously just the suspension. He'd be up a little higher. I don't know exactly where I'd put him, but he'd be probably around 16, 17-ish range, I would say. Probably in there.
I think that's probably actually where I would have him, too.
And he's ranked 24th currently in the rankings, going 24th in ADP. So we're right about that. He's a good player, I think, to get if you completely wait on quarterback and you really wait and you get like one of these other guys, if Goff's your starter or something, pick up Jameis maybe as a backup and see what happens, because there's still big potential there. So there really is. And if he doesn't go drafted, and you just watch and wait, and maybe you pick him up if your guy doesn't do well for the first couple games. If you pick up one of these guys towards the end, if like a Matt Ryan is struggling, if Jimmy Garoppolo is not isn't very good, I don't know.
Paired Tyrod with Jameis,
right? Why not? So Jameis, so I think he'll be good when he's there. I really do. Mike Evans, he's throwing the ball. Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate. I think it's a solid group. So we expect him to do something, but we expected him to do something last year. Didn't really happen. I still think there's the talent there, so he should be pretty solid. Let's go number 26. It's going to be Mitch Trubisky. My 24th, your 26. We're a little low on Trubisky. He's 20th ranked currently, but he actually is going 26th in ADP. I just don't have any trust in it. I know people are thinking, the Bears are like, I've heard this a lot of times. The Bears are this year's Rams. They're the Rams. Like, I've heard this, I'm not joking. I hear this all the time. Because Nagy's such a good coach, apparently. He's fine. Who knows? They got Robinson, they got Trey Burton, they got Taylor Gabriel, they drafted Anthony Miller. No one talked about Kevin White, but there's still Kevin White, Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen. But they just think, okay, second-year quarterback, he's going to do what Jared Goff did last year. They can't. It's not. I don't think it's just going to happen. Trubisky hasn't showed to me as many signs of being able to do anything yet, and so I'm just staying away because I don't really trust it. I don't really believe in it that much.
I just can't wrap my head around this either. And what in those 12 games did anyone see that you think that he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback? And maybe he will make a giant leap, but this guy threw 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions in 12 games. And I know Goff didn't look that great in his first year and whatever, but I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind that someone would have so much faith in this guy. And I'm not saying he will be a bust in the NFL, just for 2018, this fantasy season.
You laugh when I say anything about being the Rams. And I've heard this a little bit. Here is an actual headline of an actual article. 6 reasons the 2018 Chicago Bears are going to be exactly like the 2017 Rams. That is the title. Why? Why? Just it's a second-year quarterback. It's a new young coach. That is what and they got a couple new players. That is what they're trying to say. I mean, I hate that way of trying to evaluate. Just okay, this team did it this way. Well, this team's gonna do the same thing. It's completely different players. It's just
and we don't know exactly. Yes, they did get better. I mean, people are coming back from injury and whatever it may be. You have a Tariq Cohen who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Maybe he'll be a bigger part of it. But Allen Robinson, we haven't really seen him play in a very long time. Taylor Gabriel. Then you have a rookie that you're counting on as well. Trey Burton, who is there's a lot of question marks. I like a lot of these guys, but to just assume every single one of them is going to do well.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a leap too far for me.
I'll trade you Trubisky in our Dynasty League.
Well, that might be interesting because heaven knows I need some youth.
I know. Second round pick. Second rounder. Let's do it.
Maybe. We'll talk after this.
All right.
For the future, not for this year, everyone.
I got Watson and Goff and Trubisky and Jameis.
You have way too many.
Yep. I want to free one up so I can draft one coming up. But think about it. I'm just not going to take him in a redraft.
No, definitely not.
Stash him in Dynasty. That's fine. All right, let's go to number 27, where Sam Bradford finds himself. 27th for both of us. Bradford would be higher. He would have been higher for me if it wasn't for Josh Rosen looming. That's it. And the fact that Bradford has been slightly injury prone recently.
That's being nice.
And because when he's actually played, he's very accurate. He's been a fine quarterback. He's better than people give him credit for. I'll say that. Fantasy wise, maybe he's not special, but he's definitely been better than people were giving him credit for. And he started last year really good with Minnesota. He actually started very well before his injury. And the year before that with Minnesota, he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but he threw 3,800 yards. He was 20 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's been very just solid, I would say. But Josh Rosen is looming. So that's pretty much it. Why I think Bradford will be a fine fill-in early on. He's never really had a great season, though, fantasy-wise, ever. He's, 16th, I think, is his best. So that's where he's a fill-in at some point.
Yeah.
It's 2 QB leagues. He's probably safe early on, but Josh Rosen's looming.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a certainty he will get hurt. But him and Fitzgerald would be a match made in heaven early on. Yep. I think he could do a lot of damage with the Cardinals' offense, the weapons they have, uniquely to his skill set. But no, I can't bank on him. I think Rosen won't give up the job as soon as he gets it. I almost, in my head, it's a guarantee that Bradford misses games and doesn't get the job back. So we'll find out. But
and then the sad thing is, number 28 for us, we ranked Andy Dalton below Sam Bradford, who we think is going to lose his job. And we don't think Andy Dalton's going to lose his job, but he's ranked 28th. He's 28th for me, 29th for you. I just have no confidence. And I don't know why.
His name doesn't even register when I'm making it.
No, because he's been his career 18th, 12th, 5th, 18th, 18th, 16th, 18th. He shouldn't be this low for us. Really, he legitimately should not be this low. I look at that and say he's been consistently 15 to 20. We shouldn't rank him this low. I just don't care about Andy Dalton, and I don't want him, and I just don't. Whatever.
I just don't know what's gonna. I mean, yeah, you get John Ross, but you've always had AJ Green. I feel like you've had decent weapons, and you're just always below average somehow. There's no upside. So I guess that we penalize him a lot for that one. I guess
he'll finish higher than this. I'm not saying he's not going to finish 28th.
Is he going to be worth having on your team?
No, but his ceiling's 17th or something.
Right.
He's going to have a couple good weeks. I have no faith in it, no trust in it.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. He probably should be a few spots higher. Yeah.
And then we have number 29 is going to be Ryan Tannehill, who
another one.
Another one of just I have zero confidence in Ryan Tannehill. His weapons are he has Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills. I have no faith in Devontae Parker becoming anything anymore. I thought he was he still has talent, possibly. Maybe I don't even know if he does. So Tannehill he's never quite lived up to it. He had that one year where he finished 9th, and then he went 17th, and then last year, obviously, or not last year. Last year was hurt, but he went 17th and 27th. So he had, what was that, 2014, where he showed that sign, maybe he can do something, and then he's just not. I don't think it's there. He's a 29-year-old. He's 30. He's about to turn 30. So Ryan Tannehill's already 30 years old.
Yeah, he just never made the turn.
It's just not happening. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. So it's just no confidence in it. No one else is. He's ranked 28th, but he's getting drafted at 21st. Why? I don't know. No
either.
Need for that. I'll go. Number 30 is going to be Josh McCown. Number 32 for me, 28 for you, and again, it's just Sam Darnold. If there wasn't Sam Darnold there, I actually kind of would probably like Josh McCown a lot more. I'd see him. He's going to be 22 or something for me probably at that point because he just throws the ball. He doesn't care. I just don't feel like. Josh McCown has no future there. Obviously, this should be his last year most likely. Yeah, 39 years old. He's just kept going. He'll throw the ball around, and he'll probably be good early. But I think Sam Darnold's going to end up starting at some point here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any world where Darnold doesn't end up the starter for a significant amount of games because that's the whole reason they're doing it, to bridge the gap.
Yeah, McCown will have a good week or two. He's always done that. Just that's down here. There's no need. And this is where it's really sad. Joe Flacco, 31st. He's 30th for me, 31st for you.
No, it's even worse. I don't think there's any shot that he'll lose his job this year. But I still just have I just don't see any reason to have him on the team.
None whatsoever. And if they're not playing well, they're going to see what Lamar Jackson can do. And there's been good reviews about Lamar Jackson so far, but again, this is more of the fact that I just don't have any confidence in Joe Flacco. Don't really care. He's not. Why would he be on your team in any situation? This is it's hard to even have him on a 2 QB league. I wouldn't even. He'd be the backup in a 2 QB league. He's never finished higher than 11th in fantasy football. That's it. Never had a top 10 season.
Yeah, and I mean, this was crazy too. I mean, maybe they're going to be a little worse, but Baltimore just plays a style of football that is not conducive to fantasy. No. So they went 9-7 last year.
Yeah.
And he threw 18 touchdowns with 13 interceptions. They just don't need him to be a prolific passer.
He's really not. And he's never done that. He's just not that good. He's average. He's average at best. That's all he'll ever be. And Lamar Jackson, people are going to want to see him.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be looming there. Then 32 to round out our starting quarterbacks is A.J. McCarron. My 31st or 32nd. I mean, there's not even he might get beat up by Nathan Peterman. I don't know. Josh Allen. I don't like Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen just has an arm right now. He's not NFL ready. But I haven't seen much from McCarron before in the little bit of time he played with Cincinnati. I don't really trust it. Don't care to have him on my team. So that's why McCarron's 32nd. And after that, I'll say we went. Tied for 33rd for us was Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold. I had Josh Rosen 33rd. You had him 34th. I had Darnold 34th. You had him 33rd. I think they're going to take over both of these guys.
Yeah. I think without a doubt.
And then we went Baker. Both had Baker 35th. Both had Lamar 36th.
And Baker, and once again, I think Baker just has I think Tyrod is a better quarterback right now. I think he has less of a chance there is a chance that maybe he doesn't take over as early as the other two do.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson, I don't think he's going to take over at QB. And people are going to say, he is going to be incorporated into the offense other ways. It's not going to be enough to have him on your team.
Not in a redraft.
Exactly.
Dynasty, sure.
Right, because eventually he will take over for Flacco.
Then I'm sure
could be soon.
We probably both have Josh Allen 37th, even though I don't expect much.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think Rosen and Darnold, though, both could be really good. Baker Mayfield probably too. I just don't know if he has Tyrod, I think, has a better shot to keep the job right now.
Yeah, right now. I mean, you're not going to draft a guy number 1 overall and not eventually play him. But if you had to do it in a franchise, which one of those 3 would you take? Darnold, Rosen,
for some reason, I like Josh Rosen. His talent. I don't think I like Josh Rosen, the person.
Hard to cheer for, but you think he's going to do the best?
I just there's something about him. Yeah. I like Baker Mayfield. I like Lamar Jackson. I like both those guys. Darnold seems fine. Just don't really care about Darnold actually much. He's just kind of there for me. I think Josh Rosen could be the best. I don't know. Fantasy-wise in the future, I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson with his just whatever he can do. That'll be the fantasy one. I don't know if that translates to NFL wins. But fantasy-wise, it'll be pretty interesting. Well, I think it's going to do it for quarterbacks. That's it. That's all we got. We ranked them all. So, yeah, basically the moral of the story is wait on quarterback. You don't need to spend on Rodgers, Wilson, those guys at the top. You wait on quarterback, you'll be perfectly fine. There's many options. Unless you're in a 2 QB league, the different story. Then you probably want Rodgers. You want those guys early on, I think. You want to get one of those at least to pair with then one of the middle guys. Then you could wait after you get the first one. So I think that's going to do it for this. We'll be back next week. Running back ranks. I don't know how deep we'll go on those. Probably, maybe 50, 40, 50. Go.
Yeah, got to go.
Right? Got to keep going that deep because there's relevant players down there as we go. So we'll do running backs next week. Probably do a little running back mock draft as we start getting geared up for the season. It's about drafting time now. So it's that time of year. Get all the rankings in. Go follow us, though, on Twitter, FF Prophet, and Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. Get all the news and everything going on there. We'll talk to you guys next week.